So hey Bubble family, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the new people that have decided to come along and join us here. Whether it be you've just recently joined or you've clicked on this thumbnail for the first time and you've decided to come and check out this page. Page? No, it's a channel. It's not a page. So yes, what am I talking about? In today we are part two. I just want to clarify that for those of you who don't know, I'm going through the menopause and I get my words mixed up and this happens a lot. So just please bear with me. Instead of editing it out, I'm just deciding to go with it. So yes, this is part two of the Variety interview that Meghan Markle did. So if you would like to join me in talking about this, then please do. And if you don't know by now, well, you should. And if for the new people, grab your drink of choice, whether it be tea, whether it be coffee, whether it be a glass of water, because perhaps you're just trying to be a little bit healthy before Christmas. Me, not so much, because I'm drinking my cherries and berries, which, as you know, is my favourite. I should have shares in it. Maybe you'd like to add a little something to your drink of choice, because as I always say, which the flag behind me would say, but I've had to take it down temporarily because I've had my windows done. So, so it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink, let's dive right in. So part two, which we're now going into the questions. Now, you are going to get, because I have not read the questions at all. I read the first bit all before I decided to do that yesterday. And if you haven't seen that link, I will put it up as an end video after this one. For those of you who want my waffle, if it's not on the end of this video, I will be doing a separate video, which will be uploaded about an hour after this one. So yes, you're getting the first time experience of these questions with me because I've not seen them. So the first question, the world, oh God, even before we start, the world has been mourning the loss of Queen Elizabeth. How has this time been? So she says, there's been an outpouring of love and support. Okay, correct. I'm really grateful that I was able to be with my husband to support him, especially during that time. What's so beautiful is to look at the legacy that his grandmother, see how she distances herself from the fact that this is actually the Queen of England. This really does show to me the level of respect. So that she just does not have, because yes, okay, this is his grandmother, but let's also be clear that they trashed this woman and they know that. So almost like by creating it to be just about being his grandmother, she brings it to like the family. What's so beautiful is to look at the legacy that this grandmother was able to leave on so many fronts. Yeah, something that you will never do. Certainly in terms of female leadership, she is the most shining example of what that looks like. This, I feel, really is showing that all of this, I would absolutely guess, is not or wasn't in the previous version of this. So she's obviously decided to come in and capitalise on now the death of Queen Elizabeth. I feel deep gratitude to have been able to spend some time with her and get to know her. Has she got memory loss? I think she didn't spend that much time with her, to be honest. And also, has she literally forgotten what she said about this woman and the monarchy, which is her legacy? It's been a complicated time which was caused by both of you two. But my husband, ever the optimist, said now she's reunited. Oh, just get me a bucket, somebody. Second question, has anything come up for you in your relationship with the Queen since her passing? I've reflected on that first official engagement that I had with her, how special that felt. I feel fortunate and I continue to be proud to have had a nice warmth with the matriarch of the family. Warmth? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Having a nice warmth? Or we're just rubbing your hands by the fire? Oh, you're a bit warm today, Granny. What the? Because I'm guessing that she means that she was a very kind, warm individual. Completely the opposite of the way that she's tried to depict how she you know, everything that happened with her within the monarchy. Oh. How have you processed this? Oh, let's just talk more about the Queen, because clearly that's where the money is. So we've got to talk about it. How have you processed this loss as a family? Family? What, that we never see? We never see the family unless it's in an orchestrated photo shoot. Oh, so here she does. Oh. It's in big moments of life you get a lot of perspective. It makes you wonder what you want to focus your energy on. Right now, we feel energized and excited about all the things we've been building towards. What have you been building towards? Trashing more people, using more people, because that is exactly all you've done. You literally have spent your entire time since, well, not even since leaving the royal family. You've kind of started doing it before that, but start complaining, moaning, lying, using people. That's, what else have they actually done? Answers on a postcard, please. Can anyone tell me what they have actually done consistently? Not just 1 minute wonders where they just take some of their donated money and hand it to somebody and then get the publicity for it. What, for a one-time thing? What have they actually done? Aside from also utilising things that have happened, like the Uvalde, Texas tragedy. Let's jump all over that. Because apparently even Harry said that was distasteful and we shouldn't do it. But of course she was like, no, I do what I want to do. Oh, I need blood pressure tablets. So, okay, you've done 2 major interviews since returning to America. One with Oprah Winfrey and the other with New York Magazine, which some found to be snarky. What has it been like to open up about your life now? Snarky. So, of course, she says, the New York story was intended to support archetypes and focus on our projects. And I've had some time to reflect on it. Part of me is just really trusting. What? Really open? And that's how I move in the world. Firstly, who talks like that? I'm just really trusting and very open, and that's how I move around the world. You move around the world on your legs. Well, some of us do. I mean, I appreciate some of us might not so much. But she, what? What does that even mean? Trusting? Love? You're not trusting at all. At all. I have to remember that I don't ever want to become so jaded that that piece of me goes away. So despite of those things, onward, I can survive it. Yeah, big bank balance and being married to a Prince of England kind of helps that one though, doesn't it? Part of what I'm doing with archetypes is looking at the... Oh, just her nearly said per waffle. No, you're not taking that from me. No. She's already ruined the word conversation. Part of what I'm doing with archetypes is looking at the nuances around the women who come on the show. No, what nuances? You're using celebrities probably to capitalize on their fan base, because their fan base will listen. But then you literally turn everything back to you and talk about yourself. And then you have passive aggressive digs at them, or get upset because they might call you diva. Me, a diva? Never. I'm not a journalist. No, but I'm sure that'll be the next one, that you'll now pretend you're a journalist, and that'll be the other job that you think you can do. But I want a candid, real conversation with them. It's not real when you lie. It's not real when you don't give them a chance to actually talk about themselves for a long length of time before turning it back to, it's all about me. I'm talking to some really, I'm talking to some really textured, colourful, layered, dynamic women with strong stories. Well, yes, that would be lovely if we got to hear the stories. It's like she's talking about a piece of fabric. Textured, it's colourful. It's like I can feel like a mood board coming on. There's a bit of texture here. There's a lot of colour, and there's some layers to it. And that comes with a lot of pieces you can choose to include or not. Well, in your case, not. I choose to include something that I feel is fair to them and also uplifting, and something we can all learn from. Has it been fair to them though? Has it been uplifting? I think not. Just notice that the light is reflecting on my eyebrow, and it's like, it looks like I've got a bit of a, it's like, if I turn that way, you can see it. If I turn that way, the light reflects on it. Oh, what were the days like after the Oprah interview aired on TV? Before, I do like the fact that this interviewer does keep trying to bring it back to the Oprah one. Aired on TV before an audience of 18 million people. Oh, we've got to get that in. We've got to get the fact that 18 million people watched it. But the way they view this, like, for example, like her Spotify podcast is the most listened to. What they fail to actually acknowledge is that probably 3/4 of the people, when they first do something, tune in to actually listen or hear or watch how awful it is. There are a lot of people that will be doing it to be fact checking things, to actually compare it to the lies that they're telling. So they make it seem like she's just got this fan base of like 18 million people that all tune in to listen to her speaking. But also Harry was part of that as well. And like I say, for the most part, I think it was people that were literally tuning in to actually see how bad it was. Because if that was the literally what they got after that was, they were literally slated. And it's the same with her podcast. If it was just her talking, because this is how you would deal with it, right? If it was just her talking in general, or she was having people that weren't famous, let's see how interested people would be then. Probably guessing not so many. So then she goes on to say, even before the interview, I haven't been out because I was so pregnant. I was so pregnant. Is that my American subscribers? Is that an American way why would you say I'm so pregnant? Wouldn't you just be, I was heavily pregnant? Wouldn't you say that? That doesn't make sense. Why would you say because I was so pregnant? You'd be like, well, I was heavily pregnant at the time. So allegedly, recollections may vary. The one thing I really remember, because we've got to name drop Gloria Steinem's birthday here. It was Gloria Steinem's birthday a few days after it aired. I really wanted to celebrate her at what I thought was just going to be a small and intimate birthday lunch. I envisaged it being us eating sandwiches in this cottage she was staying at. Instead, it was an extravagant... Why is that even relevant? So she's talking about Gloria Steinem's birthday, and obviously thinking that it was going to be a small, intimate thing. And then she's like, oh, but it was an extravaganza, by the way, as she deserves. But I hadn't really seen people in a long time, and the interview had come out maybe a week before. walking into a room alone is never easy for me. Oh, okay, I was supposed to say, oh, please. But actually, narcissists are very insecure. And so walking into a room alone, especially for someone like her, because she doesn't know the optics, she doesn't know how it's going to go, how she's going to be received, I would imagine would be very uncomfortable for her, because they like to have a sure thing. They like it to be controlled and structured. And if it's out of their comfort zone, if it's not controlled, so they don't know the outcome, then yes, they would feel very uneasy. So that I actually probably would say is an element of truth to that. But before I said, I remember feeling a bit uncomfortable before I could let my uncertainty linger. What? She really doesn't talk like a normal person. It's like I went into this room, I felt really uncomfortable because I wasn't sure how the interview was going to be received. And then she talks about Pamela Adlon came up and greeted me with such warmth and kindness. She toured me round the room, and at every turn, more generosity and love was felt. Maybe it's just a testament to the kind of company Glow keeps. Oh, good old Glow. Oh, just another person I'm using. But I also think these women were extraordinary to ensure I felt so welcome. Well, that just might be because they were decent, nice people. And perhaps because she was, I guess, associated with Gloria Steinem, if this is all true, then they didn't want to be disrespectful to Gloria Steinem. So they are actually respectful and they behave like adults. So she's like, it's like they knew exactly what I needed to feel in that moment. I mean, it meant and still means so very much to me. The power of sisterhood and female support can never be underestimated. Honestly, does this woman actually check what she says? On one hand, she says how sisterhood and female support is never to be underestimated. And yet, she was disrespectful and rude to Catherine. She belittled and sounds like she wasn't very nice to Princess Charlotte. She has literally been just unbelievably awful to her own sister. She literally dropped her best friend as soon as she became famous. And anyone else, any other woman that has helped her along the way, to me, the only women she keeps in her life are the ones that can do something for her. Gloria Steinem is the next one in the mix of the women that she uses to get where she needs to be. Lizzie Cundy was someone that she used to try and get herself somewhere in the UK, to meet somebody famous. As soon as she got somebody, bye-bye Lizzie Cundy. Her agent at the time, a female agent at the time, as soon as she started to become successful, it was, yeah, bye-bye, you're no longer needed. How this woman can actually say the things that she says, I just don't understand. And I feel that a lot of this is because the media do not challenge her. Oh my gosh, I would love to have 5 minutes with that woman. I would literally be like, well, hang on a minute. How do you explain this? How do you explain this? How do you explain this? Doesn't that kind of contradict what you're saying? You know, is it female and sisterhood is only important when it serves you, but when it doesn't? Because to me, you're either going to support women. Now, I'm not talking about behaviour here because I support women, but I don't support women who behave like the likes of Amber Heard, Meghan Markle, and anyone that's like that. Same as I wouldn't support a man that does something like that. There's a difference. But to me, you're attacking women that actually have done nothing wrong to you, except probably call you out on something. So what can we expect from Liz Garber's docuseries on You and Your Husband? It's nice to be able to trust someone with our story. A seasoned director whose work I've long admired, even if it means it may not be the way we would have told it. Oh, okay. Okay. So now she's distancing herself. Oh, okay. This is because Netflix has said we're not changing it. Because I believe that they are panicking and they've wanted to do some edits, and Netflix have said, no, this is how you've presented it. This is kind of what we're doing. We're not editing. So here we have the first episode where she is distancing herself from whatever the outcome is. So here she clearly says, even if it means it may not be the way we would have told it. So this is her basically saying, well, they're possibly going to tweak it and twist it, and that's not our responsibility. A bit like, you know, the finding freebies. We didn't have anything to do with it until it was actually involved in a court case, and then she had to admit the truth, even though she'd lied initially to the court and got away with it somehow. But that's not why we're telling it. We're trusting our story to someone, and that means it will go through their lens. So yeah, here we have again, this is our story, but it's going to be told the way they want it to be told. So actually, it might mean that it's not the truth. So if there's anything in, if there is anything in that docu-series that they are going to get basically backlash for, they are just going to go, well, we did say that this is not really how we would have liked it told. This is Netflix. They're to blame. So they are literally going to blame Netflix if it goes bad. If it goes great, which it won't, but if it goes great, then they're going to be like, yeah, it was all us. We did it. Yay, us. But if it goes wrong, no, Netflix, you're to blame. Sorry. It's interesting. My husband has never worked in what? Again, my husband, not Harry, my husband. This, and I was asked this as well in one of the comments. Why does she say this? So this is where it's a form of control. This is ownership. So instead of having Harry as a person in his own right, like he's Prince Harry, he's separate. And he's something that is of worth because he's Prince Harry. No, to her, my husband, mine. This is a very controlling, it's a very controlling way that she speaks. And it, like I say, it takes away the importance of Harry and his role. And it's, again, all about her. For me, having worked on Suits, it's so amazing to be around so much creative energy and to see how people work together and share their own points of view. Honestly, love, you worked on Suits. That's it, kind of, and a few little bit parts here and there. Harry has also had cameras around him his entire life. He's also done stuff for Invictus. And I'm sure there's probably other things as well. So making it seem like just because he's not worked within the industry, like she's like as if she's so much more important. Again, she really does kind of diminish him. Like, I'm the most important one. You're in the midst of a successful first season. Is it successful though? Of Archetypes. The show breaks down harmful labels put on women. What are the biggest misconceptions about you? Oh no. I think that what happens looking in from the outside when there is this much noise is that you become dehumanized. But if you remember that someone is a human being, then you don't treat them, talk about them, look at them the same way. A little bit of practice what you preach there. Do you not think? So let's look at that. So from the outside, where there is much noise, that you become dehumanized. But if you remember that someone is a human being, you don't treat them, talk about them, or look at them the same way. Your dad? Because, no offense, he was thrust into this with no real help, no real support from you. And you have treated him probably a lot worse than you might treat an animal. Although we've seen how that goes, so maybe not so much. I I honestly, truly think that she just does not realise how everything that she talks about, she actually does the opposite. She has treated her family so terribly, but gets upset when she's dehumanized. My hope for archetypes is that people come out thinking, oh, she's a real person. She laughs and asks questions and approaches things with curiosity. Does that make a real person? She laughs and asks questions and approaches things with curiosity. Oh, I do feel that people do see the real you, Meghan. And it's certainly not that she laughs and she asks questions and she approaches things with curiosity. It's the fact that it's all about you. Your narcissism is on full display for the world to see. Now, your fan base might think the sun shines out of your behind, but the rest of us, and probably the most important versions of us, i.e. Hollywood, the elite, people that you actually want to matter, they are really seeing you for who you are. And that is a narcissistic personality. It's so glaringly obvious. Who has been the most challenging interview so far? Oh, and she brings in Paris Hilton. I spoke to Paris Hilton last week. I told her at the beginning that I was the most nervous about her interview. I was embarrassed to admit it, but I've had a judgment about her that's based on everything I've seen. And I don't like to come from a place of judgment. I also didn't grow up pretty. Oh, she really, really doesn't like Paris Hilton. So she literally opens up here and says, the first thing she says is, who was the most challenging? And she says, Paris Hilton, because I formed a judgment about her. And then says, but I didn't grow up pretty. So basically saying that Paris Hilton has used her looks to get where she needs to be. So rather than it being where she's talked about bimbo, about actually where she on to actually Paris's face, she's like, well, you're more than a bimbo, and you've proven that, albeit that I just think that she's incredibly jealous of Paris Hilton's fame and fortune. Even though she's an heiress, she hates it. But here she says literally, when Paris obviously isn't in front of her, but I didn't grow up pretty, so Paris has had it easy. Oh gosh, I hope Paris has read this. I really, really hope Paris has read this. How? That's very passive aggressive. Oh. So of course then the whoever did this ridiculous interview then says, you didn't grow up pretty, ? And then she put, I grew up as the smart one. So much of what I ended up thinking about when I thought about Paris was envy and judgment, two of the most dangerous things. But then you hear about her trauma and her life and her buying into this persona. Ultimately, I told her, I'm really sorry that I judged you. I wanted her to be safe and comfortable. I told her I wasn't looking for a gotcha moment. I wanted a got you moment where we get you. No, actually, I don't think that. I think this was really her trying to have a gotcha moment. You look at this from a narcissistic personality perspective. Meghan, I believe, and I said this when I did the video, I believe she wants the life that Paris has. Paris has connections, she has wealth, but she has worked incredibly hard to utilize what she had initially, but then push past that. She's pushed through trauma, she's pushed through all these experiences that she's had to make a better life for herself. She's grown up, she's made mistakes, she's admitted them, she's owned them, and she's now in a really good place by all accounts. Meghan has literally had none of that. None of that. all she's really done is had daddy look after her, which, okay, fair enough. You know, Paris is an heiress, so she's kind of had an element of that, but she's still worked. She's still done things. Whereas Meghan literally has done a few bit parts and things. She had a TIG blog and she worked on Suits. So she's in a way comparing herself to Paris, but I think there's this jealousy and envy that Paris has literally, in her eyes, skated by on her looks. She's not intelligent. This is in Meghan's eyes. I do think Paris is incredibly intelligent, actually. I think she's a very good businesswoman. Meghan isn't. She grifts and she latches onto someone that can get her on the next level to where she wants to be. That's what she does. In a way, that is the only possible thing that she's potentially good at, is finding the right person that she can use, and capitalizing on that. That's it. So I really do think that this was really her trying to expose an element of Paris publicly in a kind of snidey way, but it backfired, because actually Paris come across very endearing, and and all Meghan come across as is very passive aggressive and quite snarky. So I do think she was trying to have a gotcha moment. The fact that she mentioned that as well, like it wasn't trying to have a gotcha moment, says to me that usually when someone puts something in your field of awareness that nobody else is really thinking about, that says that probably is the truth. She was looking for a gotcha moment with Paris, but she didn't get it. But that episode is not framed as a defense of Paris. It's a humanization of her. And that's true for everybody. I don't care what situation you're in. If a 16-year-old boy or girl or a woman in the workplace feels objectified or dehumanized because their character is misrepresented, I hope everyone listening with an open mind could come away thinking, could I just actually consider for a second that there's a person there? And again, this is about her airing her grievances. This is because she doesn't like the fact that she's been dehumanized. She wants everyone to see that I'm Meghan, I'm a human. And she doesn't like it. So she's using these podcasts to do that. She's using these interviews to do that. She wants to consistently change the narrative, change history, change who she is. She is a chameleon, and she will keep doing that until something sticks, until something somewhere that's credible enough goes, oh, do you know what? We actually think we got it wrong about you. But personally, I don't think that's ever going to happen. So this is kind of what I've done so far. So let me know what you think in the comments. Now, my waffle is going to be part 2, where I break this down a little bit more. And I kind of talk about, you know, my stuff, you know, bit of therapeutic stuff as well, the conclusion of everything, kind of wrapping it all up in a neat little bow. So if you want to join me on that, please do in part 2. But if not, thank you very much for joining me here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to not miss future uploads on my channel, please think about subscribing, because it also really does help the algorithm. Don't forget, if you don't want to watch the full entire 30-minute video, then you can fast forward to the end, because that then just counts as a view, and that would really help me and really help YouTube think that I am a channel worth keeping. For all links to everything, whether it be you want some of my merchandise, you want to treat me to a cuppa because you've liked what I've said here, you want to join the bubble community on Facebook, send me something in the PO box, become a member, send me an email, everything. It's all there. All the links to everything you need is in the intro. No, it's not the intro video. It's in the introduction box, whatever you call it, description box of the video. So please click down there, and thank you very much for your time. So as always, I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. And for the rest of you, I will see you in the waffle. Take care. Bye.